speak, then you won't get spoken to. People only see you when you up, then they notice you. Trying to be a legend, create lines is quotable. Only the real shall last, and I only know a few. People when they feelings always acting emotional. Ain't about a check, then it ain't negotiable. Gotta show respect to the people that's posting you. Soon to be on posters posted up like the older dudes.
Now we aging like fine wine, how we supposed to do. Peep the shade on the timelines, this time posted cool. Shit is black and white like photos from a disposable. Certain situations you ain't end up uncontrollable. All up in their head, I be so confused. I just brush it off, peep the shoulder moves. We all got the same 24, so it's no excuse. Switch it up, we could rap or produce. The things you can't have is forbidden fruit.
Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your host, Nathan Snell, Big Nate Sports Talk, Season 10. This is episode 15 of the podcast. I forgot to mention last episode was 14. This episode 15. On this episode, we are giving a preview for the AFC. But again, I brought back the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Herndon's finest, Sean Spencer. Buddy, what's going on, man?
Good to go, man. Always good to go. Watching football, talking football, living football. Ooh, excuse me. I'm too excited. Come on.
Yes. Oh, also, really quick, too, ladies and gentlemen, be also on the lookout. I'll make sure I'll leave a description of Sean Spencer's YouTube channel in the description below. We will be on Sunday. Let's Talk Football Sunday. Because it's week one. Well, actually, week one already started, but it's week one for Sunday football.
Yeah, Sunday week one. Yeah.
Sunday week one. So definitely be tuned in for that. Also, to make sure you check out the great other content on the Let's Talk Football family network. We got fantasy football, ladies takeover, Let's Talk Football, Shauna Janae, the round table, Let's Talk Georgia football, college football.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's talk Georgia.
Let's talk Georgia football with Andy, and Colin. Let's talk college football with Sean Spencer, Alex Loosemore, and Katie Alverson. Just be tuned in for great shows, y'all. And also, too, I cannot forget the Hanging with the Swintons and Sean. That is a good Sunday morning show.
Oh yeah,
particularly like if you need like your daily dose of morning vitamin, check that show, ladies and gentlemen. Great show. Yeah. Definitely a great show. Definitely agree, like it. Like we're keeping it moving. The previous episode, which should have already went up by now, we're now diving into the AFC. I think I feel like this is probably the best conference. I think there's more competition. I do see some bloodbaths this year, and we're going to start with the AFC North. I'll start off and give you the floor. I think being the most healthiest team matters. Mm-hmm. If you stay healthy, your team will be the best team. And the Cincinnati Bengals showed that last year. We knew Joe Burrow was going to be a star in this league, Jamar Chase. I was just surprised to see how Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Cleveland kind of just fell off the map with their injuries. This year, I think it's going to be a little bit different. There's some new identities. There's some controversy. But I'm going to give you the floor. I'll give you, Baltimore. What is your take? What do you think the Ravens are going to look like this year?
They're going to miss the playoffs. 0-17. Ever talk Maryland to my Tar Heels again, all right?
As I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Big Nate Sports Talk podcast.
No, yeah, I got them winning. I got them winning the division. They should have won it last year, but obviously the injuries and Lamar and the secondary going down, it really hurt the team, and still went to the overtime of the last game of the year and had an opportunity to get to the playoffs. So that says something about the team, the culture in there, that they resilient, continue to keep going. Obviously, we know Lamar, and in the cloud that's hanging over the head of the franchise is the money, and everybody's going to talk about it. Look, hey, like we talked about before, maybe Lamar's not, doing the extension. Maybe he's not green because he wants to keep that hunger in him and wants to keep going and try to maximize the amount of money that he's going to get. At the end of the day, I personally would like him to do it just because of something that we talked about. This is going to become a media story, a media circus over this thing. And every time Lamar does anything wrong, he misses a pass, he fumbles, he doesn't get a first down, like throws an interception. They're going to say, well, is that going to knock down? It's like we're going to start saying, oh, that's $50 knocked off, or there's 100 more for that big play. You know what I mean? It's like we're going to start monetizing everything that he does, and I think that's going to take away from the game. But with the rest of the team, look, we've seen how you're drafted. I love Lafayette. I don't know his name. The lineman from Minnesota, big dude. Valele, that's his name. There you go. I love the guy from UConn. Was it
Travis Jones?
Yeah, Travis Jones. Yeah. So you made a couple moves. Obviously, getting my guy Hamilton, that was a big move. I just think that y'all are going. You had it a year ago. You were 8-3 and leading the AFC, and I just think that you're going to just repeat that. I think you have the best quarterback right now, in my opinion, by far. Definitely the best healthy quarterback. Still remains to be seen what Deshaun Watson's going to do after being out for so long, and then being out for another 11 games this year. But I got Baltimore, man. That culture, that they're hungry. Lamar's hungry. I think they can do it. But it will remain to be seen what happens after they get to the playoffs. So we'll see.
And absolutely, that's we're going to when the season, ladies and gentlemen, when all the smoke is cleared, we're going to be back on here for our debrief and what went wrong with all 32 teams. Be tuned in for that at the end of the season. Be tuned in for that, ladies and gentlemen, with myself and Sean Spencer. We're going to go to Cincinnati. They finally definitely went out and upgraded the offensive line around Joey B. They're still respected on offense. They did lose CJ in free agency. They still got to respect the defense. I do think Jesse Bates will probably move on after this year. I don't know if they'll sign him or not. That remains to be seen. I know they tried to give him a contract offer and it just didn't work. I still think this is. I'm just curious to see now what it looks like. You got to the Super Bowl. It's going to be tough for you to get back there because, everybody's is healthy. Jesse Bates, for example, he did miss a lot of practice this summer. Zach Taylor, in the Super Bowl, some of that play calling was a bit questionable. So now you really got to ask yourself, okay, well, what does it look like? So, you still got – I think the Bengals will be fine. I think this is fair, 10 games. I thought they make the playoffs. I'm just not – they're not – I just don't see them getting back to the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts, Sean?
Back to the Super Bowl, I agree with. I look, in the first half of that season, they were torching people, and everybody was healthy then. So I don't see much of a fall off on here, especially now that they've got their own line. I think they will tie you for like 11-6 or something like that, and they will tie for number one, but you'll have the tiebreaker or something to that effect. As long as you got Joe Burrow, healthy Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, that running game, and Jamar Chase, I think that three-headed monster is going to be, a pretty formidable opponent for anybody that comes in there. We've seen what we'll see what the defense brings to the table. We've seen what they did later in the year and towards, in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. But let's see who they bring back and how they continue to play. But as far as that offense, look, until they show me otherwise, they are the most elite offense in there. Now, Lamar is by far, in my opinion, the best quarterback all around, but as far as elite offenses, I got to go with them. I mean,
Right.
that when you can throw up 300 some odd yards, Jamar Chase, and I'm not even going to talk about what they ran it up on y'all. Like Cincinnati, if anything that's going to come for them this year is the Super Bowl hangover, which I still think they're going to do solid. I still think they're only going to lose, 6-7 games, but I think the biggest thing is that they did, when they were up, they did do some moves like that where they did run it up a little bit, and they did kind of, look, we've been down for a while. Let's see, we show you what we can do. So they're going to have a target on their back, not only from you guys, but also from Pittsburgh, who's going to be up and coming. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how it all pans out. But I believe, hey, look, Cincinnati, I don't, until you prove to me otherwise, if they've gotten their own line, which is the one thing that they had an issue with a year ago, or the one major glaring hole, the 70 sacks they were giving up, if they've gotten that piece and everything else is straight, I'm not worried too much about CJ Uzomah not being there anymore. Shout out to him going to the Jets, but hey, look, they were turning their guys. Cincinnati's they're the team to beat. They're still the AFC champs.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Let me give you the for this next team. They are in that lovely city, Pittsburgh. Shout out to Sydney Swinton, the Steelers.
Yeah.
What's your outlook?
Yeah. This is about right. 9-8. Love my guy Mitchell Trubisky, but I think he is fighting his past as well as he's fighting the future, which is Kenny Pickett. I think it's pretty obvious the fans want Kenny Pickett. They're really excited. They got as just as excited as the Patriots fan did when they brought in Mac Jones a year ago, and that says something. I think Delilah Crespo made a great point on the roundtable on Tuesday where she said, they're going to really want and push and pressure, Pickett to get in there. But I think we got to remember that Tomlin's the head coach. Yep. Tomlin hasn't had a losing season. Tomlin clearly commands that locker room and that team. So I think as long as Mitch is giving him winning football, he's going to keep Mitch in there. And I just don't see him running unless Mitch gets hurt or really plays poorly. I don't see him running to the rookie just that quickly. Najee Harris, let's see how that, the lymphatic injury that he has. Yeah. Let's see how that plays out. Let's see how long he's out for that. I mean, we know he's about 80% of that offense. You know what I mean? When at full capacity, he could do it. But let's remember that up until maybe the last 2 games, he was only averaging about 3.6 yards a carry. You know what I mean? So he's, he's a more of a volume back where it's the more touches you give him, the better off he is. And hey, we know how good he is. Shout out to Ash Winton. He won her a fantasy football championship last year, and now she's got a whole bunch of Najee on all her fantasy teams this year. So look, as long as they have that, they have the AFC or the NFL Defensive Player of the Year and TJ Watt. In Cam Hayward, that D line, they locked up Minkah Fitzpatrick. Hey, they bring it to the table. Let's see. I mean, they're going to be hungry. I worry about on defense, that run defense. I want to see how if they're able to stop the run because they got you guys, they got Joe Mixon, and then they got Chubb and Cunt in Cleveland. Yeah. So let's see how they stop the run. I think this is perfect. 9-8, potential wild card, but I think it's going to be a little bit of turmoil at quarterback.
Now let me ask you this question because Pittsburgh's going into a new season. Practically a whole new identity. Big Ben has, was the starting quarterback since 2003, is gone. Kevin Colbert, I think, was since 99, 2000. Give me your outlook on what do you think the identity for the future of Pittsburgh's trying to build?
I think they're trying to. I mean, you always want to go with what their their identity has been, which is running the ball and good defense. And I don't think the defense has changed. I think the defense is still legitimate defense. It's still something to be feared. And it's kind of similar to, their coach, discipline, tough, hard nosed, and they're going to come after you, just like Tomlin. So I'm kind of look, as long as they got that defense, they're going to be in games, and that defense is going to win them 5, 6 games easily. So if you get a little bit from that offense, and that's what remains to be seen. We know what Big Ben did. Big Ben passed it all around, but he needed to rely on Najee because the arm wasn't what it used to be. So in my opinion, I mean, you obviously want to rely on Najee, but if he's getting 80% of the snaps in the first year, can he get that workload? You know what I mean? I mean, he was the main guy in Alabama, but he also had studs behind him helping him out. B-Rob was in there giving, lightening the load a little bit. So can Najee carry it? We'll see. But it's going to take some figuring out, because I don't think on offense I think they're going to be trying to figure out, what are we doing? What are we good at? Yeah. Because, Mitch's got some wheels. He's got some wheels, but, sometimes he struggles. So, hey, let's see what they do. I can't really put a pin on if they're going to be a running team or if they're going to be a passing team right now. Right. Because I don't know what they're going to try to utilize with Mitch, And George Pickens, another guy. Calvin Austin, two rookies that came, one from Memphis and one from Georgia. I know. But I'm telling you, those two guys, watch out what they bring to the table this year, man. And if Mitch could get the ball to him, man, watch out. If the quarterback issue does not become too much of a bigger issue, then I think it should be pretty settled. 98 for a man, though.
Like, if I'm not really sincere, I think Calvin might have gone on the IR.
Did he? Oh, okay. That's huge.
So, and I mean, they got Miles Boykin. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how Tomlin handles. I feel like he got some of the guys that were kind of some head cases, like Juju. I see how Chase looks this year. I'm just curious to see how that Pittsburgh Steelers team. But I said 9 wins. I definitely will say 9 wins.
Yeah, because between Najee, the running game, and then Freiermuth, I don't know how I forgot Pat Freiermuth. Once those two, if you can just keep going back and forth to that, I think you're straight. Yep. If you get Claypool to be, we all talk about them being divas, but AB was a stud, Smith-Schuster was a stud, and if Claypool falls in line, he has the potential to be a stud. You know what I mean? He had 4 touchdowns in one game against Philly his first year, so I mean, come on.
Yep. Let's painfully move on to the team that
relationship with your children.
My God.
Cleveland.
Yep.
Well, the cat is out of the bag. Deshaun Watson is suspended for 11 games.
That's some bullshit. Especially when you're average. And you were below average. And get off my... No, just no.
I don't really know. I think they made a mistake giving him that money. But in the midst of all those things, I get it. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm maybe he should have been suspended for the whole year. Jacoby Brissett now is the guy that's going to keep this team respectable. Still got Nick Chubb. Now you got Amari Cooper, who, if you look at the trade value for him, I was disappointed what Dallas got back for him. He's better than a 5th, 6th round picks. At least give me a 4th round.
Good old Dallas.
Defense is still respectable, but what is couple questions. What is this Brown team going to look like with Deshaun Watson? And then number 2, for 11 games, what is that offense going to look like? You don't have Jarvis Landry. You don't have Odell Beckham Jr. You don't have Baker Mayfield. And hell, half your offensive line, I think their starting center retired. J.C. Trotter, I'm not saying that correctly, retired. Kareem Hunt, at one point, I think he wanted, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he requested a trade. So
did he get traded though?
No, he did not.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know really what to expect from this Brown team. I really, really don't.
I don't know, man. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think. And once Deshaun gets there, especially next year, I think y'all need to watch out for Deshaun, because I think if he gets his feet wet at the end of this year, I think he was elite before, all this stuff happened. So to keep it on a football level, the defense is solid. Myles Garrett only has 1 helmet, not like Aaron Donald with his 2. You know what I mean? But look, Myles Garrett, then part of the 99 club, and Madden, one of the best D linemen in the league. So as long as you have him, you have that defense that's perennially trying to maintain and solidify itself as one of the top tier defenses, even though they struggle at certain places. But between that and then the 2-headed monster running back, and I get the running game. Yes, Trotter did go, but you mean Chubb and Hunt, if you keep them healthy and keep them running the ball, Brissett can win games in this league. He's won games with the Colts. He's won games, I believe, with like the Texans. Like he can win games in this league. So, he gonna give you a couple, and I think that defense might also give you a couple. I think the biggest problem that they're gonna have is being in the AFC North and being against all these teams that are now healthy and back, and with all of the issues with that surrounds Deshaun Watson and everything. It's just going to be too big of a distraction. If that Baker and everything that Baker was doing last year was a distraction, this is going to be a huge distraction. But while everybody's distracted by that, watch out for Brissett. I think him and Geno, those are 2 guys that I think are going to, take advantage of this opportunity. If anything, if not for anything else, just to make tape to potentially secure their next job.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a quick question. Now, what? And I know we're going to stick with Deshaun really quick. Do you think that Deshaun Watson contract has changed the outlook of what free agency is going forward?
It was always, ever since the Patrick Mahomes contract, it was always kind of going to those baseball numbers. It was always kind of going to the really high in numbers and like the NBA, the guaranteed money and all that stuff. So that's definitely been the constant dialogue since especially since the Patrick Mahomes thing. But then when you got Kyler getting his money, Dak got his money last year, you see what Deshaun got. Everybody gets on this whole thing about because of what happened. Oh, I can't believe you gave him this money. But if you break it down from a football standpoint, and you're looking at that guy that was 2-3 years ago in Houston, you would pay that kind of money for him. He would have, if he progressed the way he should have, he would have been on track to get that kind of money and actually got paid the year before all this mess happened. So to me, that's the biggest thing about this. He gets paid, all that stuff happens, gets paid again, and it's kind of sitting here like, all right, bro, we ain't seen homeboy play in a couple years. Like, what are you banking on? But I think he will be good. I think he will be good for that team, and I think this year might be, like you said, 7-10, a down year. So they might get a couple draft picks. They might work a couple things out that way. Yeah. But it's gonna be a struggle. But I think they're just gonna suffer from not having a solid QB and always having that black cloud over them on what's going to happen when Deshaun gets back.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Before we get into the AFC East, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. We'll be right back at you.
Love interrupted by tragedy. Lost in the drought of nightfall, running in search of the remedy, trying to find her place in it all. Focused only on the negative. All she can attract is pain. Perception is what will manifest. Thought she could escape, but it's all the same. Birds fly south for the winter, but she ran to the west side. And though much was stolen, much still abides. And I know she'd rather keep her distance, but it's time.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're now onto the AFC East. This is where I think things are going to be really interesting. I'm coming to you, Sean. I'm looking at this division. It ain't ran by New England no more.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And I have 3 teams that'll have 10 wins plus. I'm guaranteeing that. The Buffalo Bills, the New England Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins will all have 10 or more wins this season.
Guaranteed.
Woohoo! That's bold, man. That's a pretty bold prediction.
Start with the Buffalo Bills. We saw that as Janae Struther. What does she call it?
Massive piece of magic.
What give you your outlook on the Buffalo Bills? What are you thinking?
I mean, they made a statement yesterday. We all know how they ended the season. They ended it in a way that changed the playoff overtime rules. So hey, now that's changed. Now the season has started and they're off and running. This is what we expected. We called. I know Janae last year called. I think I did too. Josh Allen to be MVP this year, last year, and it just didn't come to fruition. To many of us, we thought during the season they were the biggest disappointment because they struggled through. But I think to your point, the rest of this division is not. They're not slouches. The Jets shocked. They shocked a couple people, but the Patriots and Miami, especially with the moves they made this offseason, so they definitely up their game a little bit. But Buffalo right now is theirs for the taking, in my opinion. You see, we got Von Miller. You've seen James Cook from Georgia. Rousseau on defense. I just feel like once they get their pieces back, you talk about Tre'Davious White injury. Like once they get their pieces back, you've seen what happened last night against last year's Super Bowl champs.
Yep.
NFL beware. Buffalo's coming. I like this 12-5. I might even go 13-4. And number 1 seed. I mean, I'm saying they showed everybody what the Super Bowl is going to be like this year. In my opinion, I got Buffalo, man.
I'm with you took the words right out of my mouth. I definitely agree with that. And also can't give him my boy Dawson Knox, fantasy sleeper. Definitely a fantasy sleeper. Let's go down.
RIP to his brother, man, Luke Knox out of Central Florida. Passed away over the summer, man.
Thoughts and prayers to Dawson and his family. Thoughts and prayers. Let's go down to the 305. The Miami Dolphins.
Shout out to Bobby.
Shout out to Bobby Willis. Couple things that ask for questions about. You gave Tua some toys to play with. You got I think who's going to be a star in this league for years to come, in Jalen Waddle. You got on the other side the Cheetah. The running game is still got Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
What is it the issue with Tua not? Because you said it in the previous video. You need to put him in there. You need to put him in there. Now you put him in there because he had the arm strength. Can you do this? Can you do that? Now all of a sudden these questions. And when I look at the offense, Mike McDaniel, excuse me, I think is going to get a lot out of that offense. Because remember, who is his coach? Who is he working with?
Right.
Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
And like, I like Chase Edmonds and Sony Mitchell. I'm just not I'm not sold in that running game. I still think the defense is respectable. Brian Flores, who was head coach, I think his name is Josh Bauer, boy, or something like that. Like, that defense is still going to be respectable. But I think the biggest question I think people have is Tua. But I think that the Miami Dolphins will be okay. I think Tua will throw. I'll say Tua will throw for over 3,000 yards, and I'll say he'll throw for 25 touchdowns. I'm going to put a guarantee on that.
Guarantee.
Oh, I like that. They got Sony Michel.
Yeah.
They should. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, that's what's up. Yeah, I was definitely looking at him. I think that will help their offense. I think he's got he's solid running back, but I think he's also good at the backfield. Look, everybody gets all bent out of shape over Tua's arm strength and really overlooks that he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the game. Like, I get it. He might not. Maybe some of his balls die.
Really quick, I'm sorry. He's with the Chargers, Sonny Michel. I apologize.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I misspoke. I apologize. He's with the Los Angeles Chargers. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, but people they like to jump on the fact that Tua, his deep balls, they die. They don't, they're not as far out, and everybody's looking at Patrick Mahomes and what he did with what's his name, with Tyreek Hill, and they're like, oh well, Tua can't do that. But the thing about it is, Tua, you can easily throw a quick slant pattern. Tyreek will do the rest. Yep. You could throw a screen, a little bubble screen. Tyreek will break it and do the rest. Yep. You know what I mean? So you don't need this big, these 50-yard passes all the time. People get all big and bad, get all hopped up on these numbers and these stats and his arm strength and yada yada. What have we been saying about Brady for the last 5 years? Brady doesn't have the arm that he used to. He won how many Super Bowls in the last 5 with the arm that wasn't as great as he used to be? And I understand Tua and Brady aren't the same, but if we're talking about arm strength as far as it plays, let's not focus on what they can't do.
Yeah.
And you know that all that crowd focus on what your quarterback can't do or what they perceive to not be able to do. Yep. Let's focus on what they can do. And their assets. You talked about. You got Tyreek. And you know what I'm saying? You got Jalen Waddle. Then you got Gesicki. Then you got who they get? Wilson. You know what I mean? So you have pieces. Sony Michel out of the backfield. You have pieces on that offense. Then they get Armstead.
Yeah, Trent Armstead, another tackle. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? They built up around him. You know what I mean? So I honestly, I'm serious. I think Miami. Shout out to Bobby. Bobby said Miami's going to shock some people, and I agree. 11-6 wild card. I'm with that. I like this. Miami Tua. You're right. The questions are about Tua, but Tua's going to prove them wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And again, really quick, I misspoke. Sony Michel plays Los Angeles Chargers. Just Chase Edmonds that did sign with them. I still am holding. I think Myles Gaskin should be the number 1 running back for Miami. Yeah. He did disappoint. I know he had COVID and he did with an injury as well last year. So I think I'm comfortable with saying the Miami Dolphins will win 11 games. I'm gonna give you this next team, Mr. Bill Belichick's Patriots.
Mac Jones. I got them winning one less. I got them at 9-8. I think they have a sophomore regression. I think people they got shocked by Jones and him and Belichick and how that stuff played out. And look, we remember 2 years ago Cam was there, and half the team opted out. Then they all came back last year, so they are all fresh and ready to go, and they did their thing. Look, we know Buffalo. We know what that did. We just talked about Miami, and I think the Jets are also much improved. So I think New England is the one that's going to take a little bit of a dip. Let's not forget their last outing that they have was a 47-7 blowout against Buffalo. You know what I mean? So, and look, I don't know if you did, but I picked the Patriots to shock somebody in that game, and I was sadly mistaken. So, look, New England's got to. Hey, people know who they are now. They're not surprised by them. Let's see what New England brings to the table, but I think that AFC East is going to be a little bit tough for them.
Yeah, and like I could see the identity trying to be developed post Tom Brady, but this is harder than I thought. I think Mac Jones would be a great quarterback in this league. I just have questions regarding what you're putting around him. I like Damian Harris. I like Hunter Henry. They definitely made some splashes, but I mean, they signed Devontae Parker. Like, is he still the same versatile wide receiver he was in Miami? Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne. Like, what am I expecting?
Right.
Offensively. Defensively, I know, led by, former Baltimore Raven Matthew Judon. They're going to bring it, but
hey, he's playing great too. I don't know where he got that from, but he's playing great now.
He is, and that really pisses me off. Shout out to Matthew Judon. I love him. I'm happy. Look, I'm all about getting your money, and he's definitely the leader on that defense.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see how the identity post Tom Brady is coming along. It's slowly there, but I give like another year. And also too, Josh McDaniels not there.
Yeah.
So
a lot of their coordinators that were helping him out are now with the Raiders. So it's gonna be interesting to see what how that plays out.
Yep. Painfully, we're still gonna go back to the Big Apple. Talk about those New York Jets, those Jets, Jets. Former Baltimore Raven, my boy Joe Flacco has the opening week 1 start. Zach Wilson should be back by week 3, week 4. Thank God he did not tear his ACL. Man. Dwayne Brown is most likely will not play.
Wow.
Something about his shoulder.
I don't know, man.
And when I look at the Jets, they signed CJ. How do you pronounce his last name, Sean?
Uzama.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's a good pickup. Elijah Moore. I was hoping, even if we got Rashard Bateman, that was a good pickup for the Jets.
Got Ole Miss.
The Jets made some some different upgrades, but this is still a young team.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting much from them. I just want to see improvement. When I look at, for example, Braxton Berrios,
BB,
coming out of nowhere last year, the guy that you paid to be a number 1 wide receiver, and Corey Davis. I'm looking for him to step up this year. You signed Tyler Conklin, Denzel Mims. You've got a decent, healthy offensive line. Elijah Vera Tucker, Connor McGregor. If those guys could just stay healthy, Malachi Becton. If those guys stay healthy, they're looking great. You signed Quan Alexander. They've made some moves.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you pushed me 7 games.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah.
But I mean, they have Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson. That was a steal. I was surprised when I looked back at the mock draft. I said, "Wow, he is being pushed this low.
Yeah,
somebody got to take him." And I'm glad the New York Jets did that. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, I want to give them more wins, but I think 6 or 7 is probably their ceiling right now. One of the things that I wanted from them was to get a quick start.
Mm-hmm.
And now when you have Zach Wilson out the first 3 weeks, it's just that's not the start you want. They already, in my opinion, are always playing behind the 8 ball because they're the Jets. They struggle like that. So
yep.
I personally think that them being in this division is going to hurt them a lot. Buffalo teeing off on them, Miami teeing off on them. I think they maybe be able to split one with New England or whatever, but they're going to struggle. They are going to struggle. And I would love to see. I love Braxton Berrios, like you said. I'd love to see these guys shine. But the Jets have made a number of moves. We've seen it. We're excited about it. But they do this every single year. You make all these moves. It's like a relationship, man. You know, you're that fresh new girl. You court her. You get her. Oh man, it's great. Everything is cool. Boom, boom. And then you realize a couple weeks later, meet the new girlfriend, same as the old girlfriend. It's just the same stuff, different day. So I look, I'm hoping they prove me wrong, but I went out on a limb. You remember our Anthony's guy?
Yeah.
Went out on a limb a year ago and said wild card playoffs, and I bought into that. I was like, yes, and I thought they had a solid team with Zach Wilson last year.
Yeah.
So this year, again, I think they'll be much improved, but I say that every year, so I'm still saying 6-7 wins. That's what I got.
Yeah. Definitely, I agree with that. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go into the seed, the AFC South, we're going to take another 30-second break. We'll be right back at y'all.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options. Now I'm not the problem. Man, that's on you, yeah. You've been terrorizing me, yeah, I'm always wrong. I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb. Girl, are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now we're going to move on to the AFC South. I think this is where I still think Tennessee. I got some questions in this division. I'm not really expecting much, honestly. I think this probably might be the most disappointing division because a couple things. I'll give you the floor. The return of Derrick Henry. What is he going to look like this year? Indianapolis, another quarterback, and this time in Matt Ryan. And then you've got Houston and Jacksonville. Houston, Lovie Smith. Shout out to Lovie Smith, another head coach for the Texans. And Jacksonville, who's still head coach now, Doug Peterson. Curious to see what their identities look like. But we're going to start at the Tennessee Titans. Sean, I'm going to give you the floor. What are you thinking? This is what I said. I said they won 12 games. But what's your projection for the Titans this year?
I think they regress because, like you, I have questions about Derrick Henry. I mean, we already know how great he normally is, and when he gets a full year, he's gonna put in some work on those defenses. So, I like them winning a good number of games, but that loss of AJ Brown, how are you gonna fill that hole? And Julio, he didn't do a lot, but he was a decoy a lot of times. So that's another hole. And shout out to they got Traylon Burks out of Arkansas. Let's see if he's able to change some things up. Tannehill, as soon as Henry went out, Tannehill had like a 4 or 5 interception game. You know what I mean? It took him a while, and even when and yes, Tennessee, at the end of the year, they were the number 1 team in the AFC.
Yep.
And then where did that take them? Cincy, with the worst offensive line in the league, was able to get past them. So, and that was with Henry, albeit not 100% healthy. He was still back in the game. So, look, Tennessee, they got some prove it for me, because to be as great as they were and then the fall short like they did to the eventual AFC champions, I was expecting a lot more. I was definitely expecting a lot more, and I think they're going to have a much improved AFC South to contend with, where they're not going to get as many. It's not going to be an easy 2 wins against Jacksonville and 2 wins against Houston.
Yeah.
And let's remember, they got 2 wins against the Colts as well. So, and that's another team that's going to be much improved.
Yeah. Now, what was your thoughts on Malik Willis being drafted?
I liked it. It goes to exactly what I was saying. You need to get a number 2. You need to get a backup, and you need to get a guy that if your starter gets hurt, you need a guy that's going to be able to come in and show up. No, I don't think he needs to go right away. I think just like Jimmy G, I think he needs to sit back and learn the system.
Yeah.
Sit back and learn your place and get your opportunities. When you get your opportunities, you make the best of it.
Yep.
But that's it. You know what I mean? Like, look, these 3 years ago, a lot of people didn't even know who Malik Willis was.
Yeah.
You know, out of Liberty, he shined. He had a number of big matchups. He had a great game a year ago against Ole Miss, and people started paying attention to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's really doing well. I don't buy into any of the negativity that came out about, oh, Tannehill's like, it's not my job to teach him, blah, blah, blah. But Lee put that stuff to bed, man. He said, look, Tannehill's been nothing but great. He's been helping me out. He's been doing everything while still understanding that this is a business and this is my job. You know what I mean? So, look, I thought that was realistic. I thought that's something, okay, cool. I can get behind that. It's a competition, but I'm going to give you, watch and learn. I'm going to give you the pointers I need to. I don't think he should start this year unless, obviously Tannehill goes down. But, I like him. I thought it was a good move. I thought that's where you needed to go, in my opinion.
And I had him, and I think I had him in the first round. I had five quarterbacks, if I remember correctly, go in the first round.
I had him late first myself, so yeah.
Wide receivers, man. I tell you. Indianapolis. Well, your season, you could have made the playoffs, but unfortunately, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had other plans. I like realistically, like I think the acquisition of Matt Ryan, I think a good move for them.
Yeah.
I think he brings a bit more of a veteran presence, but we all know he's a gunslinger. He's not afraid to throw the ball. Like, yeah, you got Jonathan Taylor, who I wish I could have drafted in fantasy football, but that's okay. Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, and there's a guy, he at one point was a quarterback too, Frank Wright. But you know that I think under Frank Wright,
where'd he go to school?
Oh, he went to Maryland.
You see, I knew that's where he was going, ladies and gentlemen.
But no, but the moves that they made, I think they made some decent moves. I mean, I'm not really sold on the offense, but I think it's a little bit more respectable. The defense is the defense is going to be the key for me. You still got DeForest Buckner. You still have Stephon Gilmore, Shaquille Leonard. They've got some Nick Cross, Maryland. I mean, they've got some dogs on defense. I'm just curious to see, and who else? Oh, they got he came from Las Vegas, Ngakoue. I'm just curious. I'm just not really. I just got some questions on the identity offensively, because the only two guys that stand out are Taylor and Pittman Jr. So, but I think Matt Ryan's going to make use of everybody. I say Matt Ryan throws for about. I'll give him 3,500 yards, and he'll throw for about 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. Look, I think they will be much improved. I think having Matt Ryan there, he will be able to get the ball down there, and he'll take what the defense gives him. I think he'll be highly efficient in Indy, and I think having him and having a threat of a pass with Jonathan Taylor behind, on the ground, I think it's gonna be great. Plus, that defense you mentioned is gonna play complementary football. I think they're gonna help out the offense. They're gonna give offense a couple more possessions that they might have had a year ago. But I think what you have in Matt Ryan is you have a field general. You have somebody that is going to command respect and is going to get the team to be able to move up and down the field. And I think that, with the running game, that play action off of that is going to be lethal. And the Colts are going to be much improved, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Yep. Let's move on to the city of Houston. Those Texans. Houston Texans. I'll give you the floor, Sean. What are you expecting from Houston?
I like Davis Mills. I like what he brings to the table. One of the most underrated rookie quarterbacks out of that draft out of Stanford. But Davis Mills, definitely, all things considering, with all the turmoil going on in Houston, he definitely proved that he can play. And look, you got Cooks, you got a couple guys over there. We know the dumpster fire. We know the issues. The coach is being fired. You're bringing in new guys. You're trying to figure, what you're doing. They played well in certain games a year ago, and I think they're going to continue that trend. I think 6-11 is fair. I don't think with a straight face that I can say 7 or 8 games for Houston, because I still think they're very far away. But Trey, who did they get? They got their own lineman, number 3, right? Who
Get the Derek Stingley with the 3rd overall pick.
Stingley, right. Yeah, we'll see what he...
They got Kenyon Green with the 15th overall pick.
Right, the lineman.
I didn't like that pick.
So we'll see how those 2 picks, play out come season. And, it's going to be one of those situations where we might look back on the year and be like, Houston really held its own in some of these games. And, if they had a little bit more talent, maybe things would be different.
I mean, you had it there. I mean, you said it. I like Lovie Smith, but I mean,
Lovie.
I don't know what to expect from them.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it. Davis Mills has all the potential, but when I look at this offense that he was working, it looks like you just pieces, just all guys off the street. I mean, don't give me a Philip Dorsett can play, Brandon Cooks can play, Chris Moore. They got my boy OJ Howard, who I feel like I'm glad he's getting the opportunity to prove what he can do.
Look, they'll be fine. Lovey knows how to manage the team. He didn't do anything in Illinois, but that's let's remember he did take the Bears to the Super Bowl 6-7 years ago. So Lovey's going to do it. And shout out to that organization. The Houston organization led by Lovie Smith went to Uvalde, the place where they had the mass shooting in the elementary school, and they're going to actually bring the kids, the football team from Uvalde to one of the games in the year. They've come out to the school and given the kids uniforms,
all that,
cleats and all those things. So those kids will never forget that. And it's a really, really, really great move. Shows the integrity of the Lovie Smith and of an organization that's trying to change the image that they have. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, between the whole situation with O'Brien and getting rid of your 2 stars, your 2 anchors and JJ Watt and DeAndre Hopkins. And then now this situation with everything that's been going on with Deshaun Watson. It's just there's I mean, not to beat a dead horse, not to use the same phrase over and over, but there's a black cloud over Houston Texans, and it just seems like until they get out from under that, I mean, no matter what you try, it's just not going to work. So let's hope, because they're doing good things. They look like they're trying. At least they're trying to. Lovie Smith, I think, is a good move, but I hope this is not just a stopgap for. You know what I mean?
I don't think so neither. And I also like the acquisition. They drafted John Mechie III. Even though I know he's on the IR, that's definitely he's definitely gonna be he's gonna be a good player in the NFL for sure. Let's move on to the next team. Doug Peterson is the head coach for this team, Jacksonville. Curious to see how this team looks like now. You know, it's a new identity. The year that they had under Urban Meyer, which was a mess. Jacksonville went out and they made some moves. I thought Christian Kirk had it started off by getting $84 million guaranteed. And it was ironic, really quick. I know I may tell this, but nobody on I might be saying this, I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, but I don't think anybody on the Let's Talk Football Fantasy Football League drafted Christian Kirk. I don't think no one touched him.
Christian Kirk.
I might be wrong.
I got Trevor Lawrence, but I don't have Christian Kirk. No.
Yes, they definitely made some moves. You know, we all know the number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker, out of that school in Georgia. They had Devin Lloyd, who I think was a steal.
Utah State, yeah.
Like they really went out and they spent and they did some. I like the things they did. They got Evan Ingram, who I think a lot of people had questions about in terms of as a receiving tight end. Marvin Jones. You're getting Travis Etienne back. You got James Robinson. The defense is still building. But I think under Doug Peterson, I think you're going to see a different Jags team. Defense, it looks a little bit more, it looks better. But now I think your future lies with Walker and not the quarterback Josh Allen, the linebacker Josh Allen. So I think Jacksonville is good. This is the starting point for them. I say 5 wins because they're still a young team and there's still an identity that's still being developed in Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence will have a better year than what he had last year, and I feel bad for him because he had to deal with all that last year. But didn't have an offensive line, didn't really have the wide receivers I thought could help him. I think this is a little bit better of a team. This is just the starting point.
I disagree. I think they're going to be 10-7. I think they're my dark horse to make the AFC Championship. Yep. You're saying Trevor Lawrence is going to do better. He had 3,600 yards last year. So if he does better than that in that team, he actually has a defense. You talk about him getting he has the real Josh Allen, but he also has other moves. You talk about Trayvon Walker. You talk about Kirk on the offense, getting Etienne back with an already dominant Robinson. Let's not forget what this defense did to Buffalo last year. Held them to what, 6 points?
Yes.
Let's not forget what everybody brings up when they talk about Carson Wentz, how that Jacksonville team who was going to that first pick sat there and shut down a dominant Colts team. You know what I mean? Jacksonville can play. Jacksonville can definitely ball. They got a couple more pieces, and they're not in the damn shadow of Urban Meyer bringing in Tim Tebow and all this other jazz. They're not doing that this year. They're all business. And let's be very, very honest. Trevor Lawrence has won everywhere. Last year was one of the first years that he ever had an
adversity for him.
He's not going to let that happen again. I got them winning. I got them going 10-7 and shocking some people. And I like I said earlier in the year, I had them versus the Chargers in the AFC Championship.
And you're guaranteeing that the Jacksonville Jaguars will win 10 games.
I'll guarantee that.
Guarantee.
I might be completely wrong on that. I might be completely wrong, but that's my dark horse, and I think it starts week 1.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not mad at it. And shout out to Sean Spencer because there was a video, an episode he did cover for me, where he did say that the Chargers, the Jags are teams to not sleep on, and I guess I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of you're coming off a season where you're dealing with drama, and you've kind of rebuilt the front office, the coaching staff. It's a whole new identity. Yeah. So that's where I kind of base it off. But I'm actually not. You got me thinking on that one.
Think about what Peterson did with Nick Foles and did with Philly and took them to the Super Bowl. Now you're giving him pieces like Trevor Lawrence. You're giving him a two-headed monster in the backfield with ETN and Robinson. You're giving him a legit defense, a couple wide receivers. I think Peterson might be able to. Now, 10 might be a little lofty for the first year, but at the same time, I feel like he's got the talent to do it. I feel like he can bring the stability that Jacksonville has not had there in a while, and I think he could push the envelope. He's gonna go for the fourth down. He's gonna go for 2. He's gonna onside kick. Peterson's gonna do something. Like I said, it's gonna start week 1 against his former quarterback in his former division and against Washington. I think they're gonna start off getting the W. I really do. I know Will gave me the same look. Like, what? How you gonna start the season? Because I just think that they are an upstart squad, and I think that people are gonna sleep on them.
No, I'm not, I don't disagree with that. You make valid points on that. You do. I like that. That's a short. What you said with Doug Peterson, that's a short. I'm definitely gonna I'm gonna clip that.
DP is gonna do something, man. Watch out.
I like that. We're gonna get into the last division of the night, but before we do that, we're gonna take our last 30-second break. We'll be right back at you, ladies and gentlemen.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out of my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you.
Yes, sir. We're back. Last division, the AFC West. This is where I think all hell will break loose. I would give you the floor, Los Angeles Chargers.
Yep, got them winning this thing. Look, we know Justin Herbert and the nurse that stabbed Tyrod in the lung. That ever since that moment, Justin Herbert, his train has been going. We know what he brought to the table out of Oregon, and he is as advertised. Even when his team's not great, he is still solid. But now his team is solid. Now he's got a team around him. We know about Austin Eckler. We know about big time receiver Keenan Allen. Yeah, we know Mike Williams on that offense. They've got those pieces, no doubt about it. But that defense, I have talked about since this man came from Florida State, Mr. Derwin James. He got hurt, and now he's back. This man's a ball hawk, okay? Mm-hmm. This man is an X factor on defense. You bring in a Khalil Mack. You bring in a J.C. Jackson. Bosa's still there. This defense is ready to shine. Believe me, this defense is ready to shine, and I'm ready. I'm ready for all. I'm here for all of that. I told you this is my dark horse to get to the AFC Championship. I really think that Herbert, dark horse for the NFL MVP. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. The Chargers are my team to beat, and I know this is a really rough division, but look, they beat the Chiefs a year ago. You know what I mean? When the Chiefs were, defending AFC champ, they beat the Raiders. They could beat Denver. I know Denver's got a new team right now, but I think they can get that done. The Chargers are going to take this division, in my opinion, and the Chargers, I think they're going to take it. Running away.
I like that. I'm with you on that as well. I have them winning the division, no doubt. I'm just, this team looks hungry. They look ready. They're ready for the moment. I'm just disappointed how it ended in the playoffs for them. it was a great back and forth game between them and Las Vegas. If Mike Williams had caught the ball,
so close, man. Oh my gosh.
But no, like I'm with you on that. I just they did everything right. They're doing everything right, and also too, same thing. Like I was like, well, I don't know what really they can do. I mean, to have arguably the best defense. I mean, Khalil Mack, Bosa, Bosa. I'm sorry, am I saying it right, Bosa?
Yeah, Bosa, the brother. One's on San Francisco and one's on Chargers.
Right. So I'm shook on their moves.
Yeah.
J.C. Jackson, like
Sony Michel,
like the Los Angeles Chargers defensively. I'll say they'll be a top 3 defense when the season's over.
Guaranteed.
Wow, I'm here for all that.
I'm feeling all these moves, and you know what's interesting about some of the moves that they made, Sean? Most of the moves that they made, particularly the defensive side of the ball, are all 1-year deals.
So that seems to be the new trend. Get it for 1 year, take that chance, hope everything falls into play, and take it. So hey, let's see what they got.
Yep. And again, like they got Rashard Slater. I thought it was a good pick for them. They've definitely built up that offensive line. Zion Johnson, shout out Bowie, Maryland. Good pick. He went to that school in Boston. He also went to Davidson. That's my guy though. Great moves. Great moves for the Chargers. It's definitely looking up for them. This next team, man, they be looking so great. Identity wise, offensively. Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll be fine. Tyreek Hill's no longer there, but now I think you replaced him with Van Dyke Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster. Now you're going to have to figure out how to implement them, and then let's not also forget Sky Moore.
Yeah,
along with Travis Kelce. Now you're going to have to. Now it's curious to see how the offense is going to look. Now we get to see what Patrick Mahomes. Can you make these guys look good? Which I think he's capable of doing. And I didn't forget about Mecole Hardman. I didn't forget about Clyde Edwards-Helaire once he comes back healthy. Like offensively, we know the Chiefs are going to be stout. Defensively, I think they definitely made some improvements. Getting George Kalafis, Trent McDuffie. Like, let's keep it real. There was a period last year where they were horrendous, and then they tightened it up down the stretch. So I think they made some moves on the defensive side of the ball as well. So I think the Chiefs will be fine. It's just I think the biggest question on everybody's mind, how off that identity offensively will look now that Tyreek Hill's not there.
Yeah, no, I think that's what everybody's gonna think. I got like 10-7, and I definitely see question marks in playoffs. I think they're gonna suffer from fatigue. I mean, let's be honest. The last 4 years they've been in the AFC Championship. You know what I mean? You play into January each year, and Tom Brady made it look so easy, but it's not that easy. No. You got some young guys, and one of the guys that brought you to the dance year after year is now gone. Hey, look, sometimes you can bring other people in, and it's business as usual. But I just don't think with the absence of consistent running game. They have a running game, but like you talked about with Clyde Edwards in there not being there, Williams, like I need more of a running game from them to sustain that passing game, because I think that passing attack is going to be a little bit different this year.
Different here.
And I just don't think they're going to be able to win those shootouts every one of those shootouts like they were before, because a lot of teams came into the game with their secondaries just scared that Tyreek was going to blow past them. I don't think they're as scared about Juju and Rico Hardman and Valdez Scantling. I don't think they're as scared about those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I think you could probably, I look at their running back core.
Mm-hmm.
I have it here in my notes. Ronald Jones the second, Jerick McKinnon.
Oh, Ronald Jones, right?
Decent, but
I mean, we know what Andy Reid can do. Andy Reid, works magic, and as long as they got Eric Bieniemy over there, as OC, that they're going to be able to get wins. They know how to do this. I think injuries might play a factor this year, and I just see this AFC West being a tough what the NFC West was a year ago, and somebody's got to fall on that.
Yeah,
So.
Yep. I'm gonna give you the next team. I think this is a team that's going to surprise most. Las Vegas.
Yeah. The Oakland Raiders. Yo, shout out to my guy Nathan Snell, who said a year ago I will never call them Las Vegas, and now he's saying it so calmly. It's I know it stings, man. I know it does. I'm sorry, man. Look, everybody knows it. Devontae reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited with his Fresno State quarterback, Derek Carr. Let's see what that connection brings. We know, on Instagram and Facebook and all the pictures, they're buddy, and this is so great. But there was a special connection between Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Okay, when coming out of college, I didn't hear anything about Devontae Adams after he was with Derek Carr. Now, this is a different offense. You got Darren Waller, you got, Jacobs, you got, a solid line. So I think this could be a blockbuster connection. This could be a huge matchup made in heaven with these two guys coming together. So they're going to shock some people. This is one of Janae's team. I like them at 11-6. I like them, coming in, like I said, second place. And I think that offense is going to, if that offense mixed with Crosby on defense, running amok, I think that offense is going to show up and show out this year. So I got them in the playoffs.
Yep. And also too, like we mentioned earlier with the Patriots, most all the New England's coaches came with Josh McDaniel down to the Sin City. So like I just want to just see like how, especially my guy Darren Waller, former Baltimore Raven. I just want to curious to see how he looks to come off the injury.
When did he play? He got drafted by Baltimore?
He was undrafted.
Oh. And then you guys cut him?
Painfully.
Wow.
Painfully.
Does that make me crazy? Wow.
No, I take it back. We drafted, I think it was like the sixth or seventh round. I think it was like, was it the fifth? It was the 15th 2015 draft.
And then cut him.
Yeah, because he got suspended for the first 4 games, I remember correctly, for violating the league's policy. And
Wow.
And then Oakland, they were Oakland at the time. They signed him off our practice squad. And what could have been?
Wow.
What could have been?
Imagine Andrews and Waller. Wow. Nobody has to say anything about any other position. Just like tight end, quarterback. You're good. That's all. That's it.
Woo,
and also missed the vote on that one.
I'm sure you're damn right. But also to give a shout out to Mr. Oh my gosh, Al Davis' son, Mark Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to him. I mean, he's got to be the most happiest owner right now. The Las Vegas Aces are going to the finals again, and you're building on the success of the Las Vegas Raiders. Ooh. Oh
Rich
my
get
goodness.
richer.
Absolutely. I'm actually give you the last. I'm gonna give you the floor on this last team in the AFC West. Excuse me.
The least.
Denver.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the Denver Broncos this upcoming season?
Look, I like Denver. I do. I've liked them. I like their receivers, Jerry Judy. I know Hamler's hurt, but Sutton, I've been a big fan of. Tim Patrick's hurt, I know, but I've always liked what they brought to the table. Then, of course, they got my guy out of North Carolina, Javonte Williams, to pair with Melvin Gordon. So dynamic backfield. And look, obviously, Russell Wilson, he can only help. He can only do good. He has a line. He has an offense. He has a legit defense. But I think 9-8 is fair. I just think there's still going to be a little bit of time where he's going to have to come in and get adjusted. And he's going to have, I think he's going to have some flashes where he's just like, there's Russ, danger Russ. That's the guy. But I think there are going to be some moments, especially in the NFC and the AFC West, where it's going to be some close ones, some shootouts, and he's not going to be able to pull that one out, in my opinion. Yep. Now, who knows? He can strike it rich on the first year, and we can see. But I just think that if he had all his receivers, I think he would be just unstoppable. But the fact that there is a couple guys that he is missing, and Hamler and Tim Patrick, I think he's that's something that it's going to rear its ugly head in an opportune time.
Right. I agree with that, and also too, I wanted to also point this out. Denver had another team that had an interesting offseason. Like they practically under Vic Fangio, there's an entire coaching staff. They moved on from everybody.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised. I was like, wow. I thought they would kept some guys. And then we all know about ownership. The Bolin family has decided to sell the team. I think his name is Rob Walton. I think he owns Walmart.
Yep.
So, I was very, very surprised that this is a whole new identity.
Yeah.
For Denver, coaching staff, front office, ownership, and I like it. I think getting Russell Wilson, I was surprised. You'd be surprised, and I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I was hoping that he would have come to Washington. I was really hoping. It
would have been a lot of. We would have had to give up a lot for him, man.
I was really holding out hope, and then when he said, "Nah, I'm good being on the West Coast," I was like, "Oh, he's going to stay on the West Coast."
But we could have. I think and now knowing what we know about Chase Young, I think had Chase been healthy. And I think we could have potentially worked out that trade because I know Chase was going to be one of those tiers. That was the thing. We were going to have to give up way too much to get Russell, to get Aaron Rodgers, or any of these type of guys. So I don't think they wanted. I think what we did was right in hindsight, obviously. But I was with you. I definitely believed. They had some mock-ups of Russ in a Washington jersey, and I was like, I'm here for all of it. I love it. Yes. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. We got Carson. So
well, I mean Carson will be fine.
He's not Russ.
That's okay.
Don't sit here and be like, oh, we got Huntley. He's not Lamar. Okay. He's not. He can be the off-brand version of him. All right. There's Teddy Grahams, and then there's Cookie Bears or something. That's what he is. He's not the real thing. So,
but also too, like getting Randy Gregory, I'm telling you, Patrick Surtain II.
Yes.
Do not sleep on him, y'all.
Yes.
I'm telling you, he's going to be a Pro Bowler. Yep. I'm giving like another 2 years. He's going to be a star. And this league, Patrick Surtain, watch out.
Guaranteed.
This year, I think he's going to be this year. Him healthy, and you reminded me of Randy Gregory, and then you got Bradley Chubb. Yeah, he's going to get this year.
I can see it. And Ronald Darby as well.
Yeah.
They got some dogs on defense.
Yeah. And that D is going to keep them in games. That D is going to dominate some games. But like again, my issue is the injured receivers and just getting Russ acclimated with the Mile High, the stadium with that air, playing in that whole environment and whatnot, and then playing in the AFC West. I mean, look, the NFC, we know what the NFC West is like, but the AFC West is a different beast altogether. You got 4 teams with legit quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And top tier wide receivers and top tier offenses, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, I think we will see. We will definitely see. And look, I'm optimistic for him. You know, I want only good things, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, that is our NFL 2022 preview. I think this has the making to be probably a season where you see surprises.
Mm-hmm.
I think you talked about Jacksonville being a dark horse. There are some teams that were struggling. I think you're going to see some improvement. I think you're going to see a vast majority of improvement across the board. I mean, we're still going to have our teams that are playing for another draft pick, and those things happen. But I think this has to make it to be probably one of the best NFL seasons. I do. Cause I think it does. I think it's now evenly played out now, particularly in the AFC, because who can stay the healthiest and who can really truly come out this bloodbath, because this AFC, I ain't gonna lie, this is dangerous.
It's rough. It's rough. Definitely.
I mean, between all 4 divisions. Oh God, we gotta play some of these guys too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll do that preview video for that tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. But also to Washington, Sean. While I still have you on here, like, just give me your outlook. I know you guys talked about it with Washington Football Weekly. Shout out to you and Will Kramer. Check that out on Wednesdays. Washington Football Weekly, ladies and gentlemen. Just give me your outlook really quick on what do you think Washington. I know we're in the AFC, but just what do you think Washington will look like this year?
I think we're about a 10-win team. I'm really excited about all the weapons that Carson Wentz has on offense. And Robinson and McKissick in the backfield. Or not Robinson, but Gibson and McKissick in the backfield. I'm eager to see how they play into the passing game, and I'm all for the deep balls that Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel and John Dotson are going to get tossed, and our tight ends and everything. Our defense, man, is leaves much to be desired. Hopefully we can just be a lot of bend but don't break, but I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of me throwing stuff at the television. So be very, very honest with you. We're past the part where we know the name. We're the Commanders. We're good with that, but now we have to go in here and lock it up and play good ball. And coming in and we're tied for the easiest schedule with Dallas. Start off playing at home against Jacksonville. I think we're gonna take that L. I'm going to the number 2 game against Detroit in Detroit.
Interesting.
And then we got Philly and Dallas and think Tennessee and Green Bay. So it's a little rough, but I think we can get through it. Right. I think we'll be fine. And towards the end of the year, I definitely think we're gonna have a nice little run towards the end of the season. We do end up playing on New Year's.
Really?
We play Cleveland.
That's right.
With Deshaun Watson, who will be back at that particular point. So it's gonna be an interesting year to watch. Last year at the end of the year, we had a 4-game stretch where we lost 2 to Dallas, 2 to Philly, and Will and I stopped doing the show for a little bit.
I remember that. It was painful. It was. I remember that.
After Dallas put 56 on us, I kind of said,
yeah, we both did our episodes in sunglasses. That was God.
They're not paying me. I don't know. We didn't even do an episode. I said no. They're not paying me to talk about these guys. I'm not doing that. You gonna put people up on the field that we don't even know who they are? No, I'm good.
How do you feel about the 17 games? Because I have some concerns. I mean, we're not even at week 1. Mm-hmm. And we already got guys in the IR.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot more strategic. I think it's going to be a little similar to kind of fantasy, where you're kind of having to see, okay, who am I putting on the pup list? Who am I, like, even coming into the season, knowing that they might be out for 4 games, but you now know that they're locked in your team and you can't have other people potentially poach them from your practice squad. You know what I mean? Or you're not dropping them for somebody else pick them up for when he gets back and gets back to being healthy. So I mean, look, 17 is a lot of games, and you got games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in the playoffs, and Sunday, Monday. You know what I mean? And with the COVID year, we had games Tuesday, Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like,
and some of the games you have to make up too.
Well, right. So it's for the players. It's rough, man. That's to have to deal with that another full game. Yeah, you're getting paid, and let's dispel this whole myth right here that all these guys are getting paid when Aaron Rodgers is getting paid, because that's BS.
Yeah.
Some of these guys ain't getting paid when Aaron Rodgers is getting paid, and they're still putting their body through the same kind of toll. Yep. That's why I'm glad that the NIL stuff is happening more openly in college, because there's a lot of these guys that have debilitating injuries that they're debilitating for the rest of their lives, and they're not getting compensated. But everybody thinks, because they're athletes, they're getting compensated. So let's squash that right there, man, because some of these guys ain't getting that paycheck, and they need to play to get the paycheck, or they need an incentive to get a certain amount of X, Y, and Z. So, but yeah, that 17 games as a fan, oh yeah, give me an extra game. I'm with that. Are you kidding me? Yeah, because I know how quickly the season ends. Right. I know how quickly we get to January and February, and then we're sitting here like, dang, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? So I want it. I love it. Having one more, I think we cap it at 17.
I think we should cap it at 17.
If
you do 18,
no, you can't do that, because that's another thing. I fear that it'll get up to you. Just keep moving. When are you going to stop? You know what I mean? Then it's like, dude, we already cut off one of the preseason games, and we've seen what that's doing to the teams. We could have used a preseason game, so another one. I mean, so that's how I feel, man.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude the episode 15 of Big Nate Sports Talk. Sean Spencer, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking your evening for helping me get through this preview. I'm so excited for football. I can't wait to do the show with you this Sunday. And shout out to Dylan, Nick Rosario will be on there as well. It's going to be some great football. We're going to be YouTube's version of NFL Today. So like definitely be tuned in for that. Like I said, be tuned in for future episodes. Maryland football. I'm actually going to. Once they play SMU tomorrow, I'm going to recap that game, because I just want to kind of see what Maryland looks like in this game. Hopefully, there's some things that they improved on in terms of just little things that I was surprised to see. Also to be tuned in for the Brendan Potts. He'll be back tomorrow with WNBA preview for the finals, and his take on Seattle losing to Las Vegas, and still got the baseball content. Hopefully we have baseball in there, because playoffs is about to start in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. And also to the World Cup for basketball. That's also starting up too for the men's and women's. Not really fond of the fact that the amount of games we're having in the midst of a FIBA season, but because this year, with the W, for example, they played 36 games, didn't have a lot of rest, and then turned around and now trying out for Team USA. Like some of the girls, some of these are still in the playoffs,
right?
And they got to fly out to Vegas. It's a mess. Yeah. It's a mess. Closing message, Sean.
Honestly, I don't know, man. Football, man. Football. I mean, just X's and O's. Pay attention to it. Dive into it. Love it. Be a part of it. I mean, and really, honestly, football is life. I mean, and I don't mean that like there's nothing else in this world, but I just mean like you can really look at life and look at things that go on in a game and things that go on around a team, and you can really draw parallels. You know what I mean? The battles that you have to go through, overcoming adversity, being, favored or being an underdog, dealing with injuries or setbacks or obstacles, this and that. Just gotta keep playing, man. Keep playing, keep going. Football, I love it. Let's go.
Yep. And I second those thoughts. I'm ready for the season. I'm ready for the Sunday Night Football. I'm ready for it all. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Ladies and gentlemen, again, please like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. I'll be sure to leave Sean Spencer's YouTube channel in the description below. Check him out, as well as the other members of Let's Talk Football community. Again, thank you for the support you're giving me, this channel. You can also check us out. Both our channels are on Spotify. Let's Talk Football, Big Nate Sports Talk. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Make sure you check our shows out. Definitely leave reviews and share the podcast. But Sean, again, thank you. I really do appreciate you. And I can't wait for Sunday. I know we'll definitely chop it up. We'll have, if this time tomorrow, we'll definitely chop it up again. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, subscribe. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Do something fun. Stay productive. Stay the course. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, y'all.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys if they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.
Broken future, all the plans you made in your heart grew just to die. And now your damaged goods, damn it should have never been. Thought you were bulletproof, look at you, what happened? Did she hurt you? Are you okay, baby? Everyone gets hurt, that's how we learn to make love work.